Hello everybody and welcome to episode 6 of the Mercedes chassis swap. On this one we're going to install the rear flares for the second time. Fingers crossed it goes well. We've got some rust repair to deal with in the driver's rear door corner. And we also have a bunch of big spaces in the trunk that need to be filled and add some structure back. So let's start with that. Here we go. Alright, so the first step is just making a tape template. And we'll pull that out and replicate it in steel. All right, we've got our 2 tape templates. That's what we got out of them. Let's give them a try. There's one. There's 2. All right, while I'm at it, I want to give this bead roller another try. These pieces are going to be in the trunk and they could use a little bit of extra stiffening, so let's see how it goes. Not bad. All right, it ain't pretty, but it added structure back. It closes things off, and we'll seam seal it anyway, so it'll look all right. All right, now we've got to fill this void here, and it's a pretty complex shape. I have no way of rolling steel or bending steel in large bends, so I'm just going to make it out of some sheet. I'll probably reuse that piece of scrap that I have where I screwed up the bead rolling from the front. So let's work on that. All right, we've got that bottom piece tacked in, and then we'll fill the vertical piece. All right, now we've got the vertical piece in place. Use the opportunity to practice with the bead roller once again. And once again, I still suck at it. But let's weld this in, and then we should be done with the trunk. All right, success. That is all buttoned up. And now we will move on to the rear fenders. All right, before I do the fenders, I forgot I need to deal with this rust. I've been putting it off for way too long, but now is the time. All right, so I've cut out all the rust in this corner here. Fortunately, none of it's structural, and I'm going to add strength back when I put the fenders on. And it's all pretty much going to be covered up. But the inner part I will see, so let's figure out how to make all these kind of funky, complex shapes. So as I've mentioned before, I don't have any fancy benders or anything. So just started kind of looking around, see what I had in terms of metal that had bends in it already. And here's an old fender. It had this section here, which has this nice bend in it. And if we take that over and put it there, that's going to look great. And where those 2 little lines are, I'll run it through the bead roller, and it should look pretty good. Let's do it. All right, that lines up pretty nice. Let's clean up a little bit more, and we'll weld it up. All right, there's the first layer. Now we got a couple more layers to go, then we'll clean it up. All right, and next piece going in now. And last but not least, that piece is going to go in there. And we should be good. All right, and there she is, all welded up. It actually added a decent amount of strength, so I feel good about that. And once the rocker trim is back on there, looks pretty good. All right, so with the rear fenders the first time around, I tried to match it to this flare that's built into the rear bumper. So I tried cutting it, tried shaping it. It just did not work. So I've got a different approach this time around. Let's take a look. All right, so I've got the new flares from Ulterior Motives. They're beautiful once again. These guys make really good stuff. I highly recommend them. They look a lot better than the kind of rivet-on plastic flares. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld the flare on like this, and then I'm going to cut the bumper to this line. So instead of modifying the flare, I'm going to modify the bumper. I think it's going to work a lot better. So we'll get these mounted up and see how it goes. Now, one thing I want to address before I weld these on is this bump out on the body causes an issue right there, because if I weld that there, that leaves a huge gap there. So I think since this is going to all be hidden anyway underneath the flare, I'm going to cut this there, cut that there, and then get rid of this bulged part so that the flare can rest up tightly against everything instead of having this 1/4 inch gap that I don't feel like addressing. Let's do that first. Now, obviously, we'll clean that up and finish welding it, but now the flare will sit flat along the whole way, so we won't have to adjust anything. All right, one other thing to note. I had Ulterior Motives make these flares a little bit narrower, and it's made my life a lot easier. So take a look at this line here. That's the line for the first set of flares that I tried. And they sat up higher. Obviously, it didn't fit the contour of the wheel very well. Not only that, I had to get into the door, which I really didn't want to do. This is going to line up right with the door jamb and still leave plenty of room and look correct. I know it looks wider on the back right now. It's just because it's not tacked down. All right, I'm feeling really good about the placement of this flare. So let's get to welding. All right, that flare is done, and I'm much happier with it. It fits the wheel really well, and with a little bit more massaging, it's going to work around the rear bumper really nicely. All right, there's another exciting thing about the rear end. And I've been waiting about almost 2 years for this, and it finally showed up. Let's take a look. All right, our EVO Wing finally showed up. I think it's really going to look great. It's not as aggressive as the Class 1, which I'm fine with for a street car, and I think it's a lot sexier than the EVO 2. So we'll get that mounted as well. All right, well, that's the final big piece of the puzzle for the body. Obviously, I have to deal with the rockers and a bunch of other stuff, but the main shape is there, and I am really excited about the way it turned out. Maybe I'll let you guys see it next episode. Nah, let's check it out now. All right, introducing the Mercedes CLA45 to 190E chassis swap in all of its glory. Well, most of its glory. I'm really excited about the way this has turned out so far. Tons of little details, but we got plenty of time to work on those, and I cannot wait to see this thing all in one color with all the details done. All right, and just for fun, let's do a quick little time lapse of the progress of this, because I just can't get enough of the way this looks. All right, there you have it. Thanks again to everyone for their support and encouragement and technical information helping me do this. I can't wait to keep it going, and I'll see you at the next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks.